All right. We are live. Hello, everyone. We are live again. We have been making a habit of this Wednesday live thing, and it's been super fun. And we're so excited that you guys are joining us. And today, I don't know if you saw on Facebook and Instagram, but we gave a little sneak peek of the technique that we're doing today. A lot of you have seen our stamped impressed technique. This is just a little variance on that, a little twist, and we trowel over the stamped impressed. So we're going to show you that. We're going to be using some stinky gold paint to add a little bit of glam to the industrial vibe we've got going on. So let's get started.
Industrial glam. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, that kind of came to me yesterday as I was posting on Instagram.
On the Insta.
I'm sure it's a thing, but I just thought of it for the first time. So got my coffee. You guys have your coffee. I know it's 11 Pacific and you guys are already in the afternoon hour. Hello, Shirley.
Welcome.
Mm-hmm. Welcome. Everyone's waking up and showing up. I love it.
Before we start painting, just a random interjection, because Sally and I were putting on a little makeup before we got on camera, is our habit. And I was thinking another shout out for this mascara. We're both been using, and we're not influencers or affiliated in any way, but I know when we're looking for something good, we like to share it. The Thrive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the Thrive. The Thrive mascara.
Right. They have a whole makeup line, and I haven't tried their other stuff, but their mascara is really awesome. It does not, you can tell when you're taking it off, it comes off in like a whole lash.
They call it tubing mascara.
Yeah, there you go. Tubing.
And so
so it doesn't smear.
Right. It doesn't smear and it doesn't migrate as much.
For some reason, when you're older, have you guys noticed this as you get into your, 40s and 50s? You sometimes rude
as if
you sometimes get more migration.
Well, for me, I know it's because I like to keep my face super balmed. I like to use very emollient. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is going to make it migrate more. So this doesn't migrate. You'll get a couple little crumbs throughout the day.
Oh, Marie Wilberg, you are right down the street from us in Forest Hill, California.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. I saw Kelly Weiler in here.
That's
Girl
awesome.
Upcycled.
How exciting.
Yes.
Okay. So step 1, we are going to be troweling on. We actually found this. It is not the color of blue we're going with, but it was base coated already, so we went with it.
Yeah.
It's just a kind of a cobalt blue.
When you are doing the troweling, the stamped impress, you're kind of going into a thick layer. And as with any type of painting project, doing your first base coat in a thinner layer is going to be better for adhesion rather than going directly on that surface with a really thick coat, because it's thin for the win. But in this technique, we're going thick for the kick. But first you want to do your thin base.
Very good. Thinking on your feet. Thick for the kick.
So we've got it base coated and dried, and we'll probably need a little more than that. We are going to use a silicone blade, and we are going to just cover this bad boy.
Give me some more.
Well, I know, but you can always add more. But it's harder to take it off.
That's true.
And get a paper plate and scoop it in. And
ask us how we know.
Yeah.
Ooh, this color is really pretty against the cobalt.
It is. It has
it's more
some
green.
Really muted green undertone. Yeah. It's just a custom mix. But it is really beautiful. I like it. I like it on the piece too.
One thing we love about this technique of painting, the troweling on, is just you get kind of a artisan look, like, smooth and perfect walls. If you guys love smooth and perfect
plastered walls have this look because they are troweled on.
Exactly.
Totally. But not only that,
I'll need a little more for the edges
because I know
on the edges.
Y'all are mineral type, chalk type paint fans. which is what we're always using.
Yeah.
It changes your relationship with the paint when you're using a flexible silicone blade like this.
Oh, we got a chunk there. Let's get that out.
Yeah. Whenever big chunks come in, you just
chunks.
pull them out.
They drag through your paint and they don't have that nice organic smoothness to it. It interrupts
the flow.
So
it changes your relationship with the paint because it feels so different when you're applying it this way as opposed to a brush. It's just amplifies the silky, creamy nature of it. Any bakers in here, any work with ganache, chocolate ganache? Let me see you pipe up if you're like, I know what ganache is like. This is what it feels like. It feels like you're spreading ganache.
Okay, now I think when I did the dresser, I did go on a little thicker, but that's okay. You get different looks depending on the thickness of your paint, depending on the dryness of your paint. And we really recommend playing with it.
Totally.
And testing out different looks and the different thinness and the different dryness and play.
100% plus of all in some of our another video where we demonstrate this technique for you, we talk about reworking. That's another thing that you can do
right now.
Exactly. So she's reworking it. You can also let it set for a little bit and then trowel it, like actually literally intentionally move it around.
Now I am going on with a very light touch, and I've got the trowel almost is it perpendicular? Almost flush.
Perpendicular would be straight up and down.
Right.
So
it is not like this.
Yeah.
It's like this.
It's a very low angle.
And it's very light touch. And I just
I'm thinking that's like
letting it caress.
20% angle in there. But let me do this. You move that around and let's get some.
Okay.
Am I allowed to say sexy shots of this paint movement?
Okay. Arlinda says, yuppers, I know ganache, as does my thighs.
Same. I feel that. Totally.
I love it. Yes. Yeah. You like that? Sorry. We gotta be careful. But it's true. Just getting that side angle really helps you.
It's
and
really
as you rework it, so you let it kind of dry as you're going and you go back over, it has a different texture to it. It starts to set up a little bit and you just get kind of a feel, and you get a feel for when to stop too.
So really quick, let me see what happens when you've got this really low angle.
Yeah.
And because you're not wanting to move it as much as kind of spread it. But if you want to move it, you put a little more pressure and bring your angle up a little bit. And I just want to show that how different that's going to look on your surface. Can you see that?
Yeah, so you can really, it's removing the paint
and amplifying the texture underneath. So we're going to go more into that on the next step of this technique on this project that Sally created.
That's right. And again, these are things that you just want to get a feel for and play and get some sample boards out. If you don't want to take a chance on a piece of furniture, just get some sample boards out and play with paint, and just that is how you
enjoy it.
Josie and I always say, do the reps.
Do the reps.
Do the reps. That's how you learn.
Oh,
furniture artistry. Okay, so I think I'm going to call it good. As I see the edges starting to dry, I want to get started on the stamped and pressed step.
The timing on this, would you say, is also one of those things that that's going to affect the result, and it's not a right way and a wrong way.
How dry.
It's getting a feel for it.
Your
exactly.
And one thing I notice is your paint doesn't dry all at the same time. So you're going to have areas that are more dry than others. And that actually really works with this technique, because you'll get some areas that are a little bit deeper and some areas that are a little shallower and some areas that didn't take it all. And that brokenness of the design is actually part of the character. So, okay. So we're using our retro stamp today. It's a beautiful font. It's a brand new font that we just came out with.
2-sheeter.
And then we're also using our classic and fave of typesetting. So I wanted to use, and typesetting has 2 fonts on it. So we're working with 3 different fonts, and I even pull in the numbers there, and we're just doing a random pattern of different letters and numbers in different fonts. And I just kind of eyeballed it. I just pulled one from one sheet and went and just kind of eyeballed it to make sure I got an even pattern of the different fonts and whatnot. Let me make sure I'm on camera.
Yeah, your camera limit is, it's all the way.
Right here.
No, it's right here.
Oh, that's your hand. I was like, no, my hand is right there.
So it's right here.
Right there. That's very limited. So I'm just going to do the areas you guys can see. Do
you want to, let's trade places so that you can work from here and there.
Good idea. And so I just kind of worked from the edges out to the middle, and I worked right up next to the one letter up next to the other. I didn't space them. I like a nice tight design for this.
I love you too, Kathy.
Okay.
And yes, Jill, this will replay later so you can catch us on the flip side.
That's right. Okay, so this is our retro. This is an outline of a block font, a sans serif. And what we love about it is that you can use it as an outline font, or you can paint it in solid, or you can paint it in with a contrasting color. So it's one of those that gives you a lot of different options.
We not have a video showing you doing just that on a pillow? On the Adore pillow, the I Adore You pillow.
We do, and that is on our YouTube channel. You were on that too.
Yes.
I
was just
we both showed them.
Trying to remember it. We do so many videos.
Now for this I went
here, let's pull you.
Okay. I went each direction on the board, and I'm just trying to stay in camera, so that's why I'm not going right to the edge. Okay.
I'm going to take the camera off and get a closer view of you, and I'll try to be really still. Does that sound good to you?
But for my design taste, I did not go upside down with my letters. I went right side up and sideways, but I did not.
Not really, and really not diagonal either.
No, I didn't. I went
this
way and this way. They saw it on. They haven't seen the whole thing.
Okay, so that kind of demonstrates. What do you guys think of that?
It's got some sheen to it, so it's hard to see. We'll give you a better. Oh yeah, you can show them up close. There you go.
What do you guys think? Is that beautiful?
I really love the.
I feel like it's totally, like you said, Sal, industrial glam.
Now you can see what I'm talking about. Just do you want to get a quick close up of that?
Yes.
You can see what I'm talking about with the disappearing of the font. Now I did notice when I was working yesterday, I had to work rather quickly because I wanted to make sure that I worked, that I did have some good wet paint as I worked. So I
Sarah, can you lock all the wheels for me? I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
We're all roly-poly. We needed to lock our wheels. Okay.
There we go. So I did work kind of quickly, and I just threw the stamps into a wet bowl, and I actually only used the letter once. And using those 2 fonts, those 2 sets, I was able to cover these 2 doors without repeating a letter. Just little fun fact there.
Fun fact.
Okay. All right. Now, when there was a little tiny space, I would use our little font, but I only used it a couple of times, to be honest. The little font that comes with the typesetting.
I see that, and I do like the change in scale. I think it looks really nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Give me some feedback, guys, if you would rather, if you prefer, because I can't hold it as still as the arm can, but I really feel like getting a closer up view of what she's doing.
But if it's too shaky, let us know. If it's
too shaky, let us know. Give us your input.
What kind of paint was used? This is a chalk-based or mineral-based type paint. And that works particularly well for this technique because it's a little thicker.
Yes, true, true. You know what we can
Do you have a bowl of water that I can toss these into?
I'm going to put it on
I'm making
here,
a mess.
but I'm going to move this so we can get this a similar angle to what I was getting.
Yeah.
But
And I don't have to cover the whole board, but I'll show you guys enough to where you get the gist and the hang of what
okay, there.
I'm doing.
That's
now, I
better.
created a space here, kind of an awkward space between these, and I really didn't want a lot of space. So I'm going to fill that space with a little tiny font. Well, tiny when you're looking at decor fonts. Decor stamps, rather. There we go.
That works.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to get that downside in the sheen. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Now, remember, when you're working with a thick paint like this, it's going to have a tendency to slip and slide. There is a little more wiggle room for that with this technique because you're not looking for a perfect impression, but you still want to be careful. So lift it. Okay. I'll do a few more. So you can see that I'm just getting a nice, solid, butted up to one another pattern of all the letters. And that really gives you that industrial look. That's what gives it the industrial look. It's the industrial
It
part
reminds
of
me
Industrial
of
Glam.
A typesetter's cabinet.
Yeah.
Has anybody heard of letterpress printing? It's a type of printing that's very traditional, and there's types of the typesetting blocks that you use with it, and they're typically like the vintage ones are like wood, and they're sorted and stored in a certain way. It has that feeling to me, and I love that. I will tell you, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I was this close to buying a letterpress.
I remember that.
They're amazing. They're so, I just love them.
There's something about them. So forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name, but Renate missed the beginning and asked, is this wet color? Yes, it's wet color that has been given just a few minutes to set up. And you can see,
thank you, Diana Sicardi,
what we've got there. I think that may be enough to just give you guys the idea of that one step, the stamped and press. So that's how we get the stamped and press. We trowel on a nice, generous coat with a nice light touch, and then we let it set just a bit. So you kind of see maybe the edges drying a little, and then you impress the stamp in it. Now, certain stamps are going to give you a certain look. The more fine detailed stamps will be harder to see kind of what it is. It's not as clearly defined, but they still give a beautiful finish. I did with our rose toile, I did a finish on top of bureau in my room, and it just gave it this gorgeous floral texture.
Do you want to show the top of that piece over there as a perfect example of that?
Sure.
Or is that, or they can access it. We have a video.
Yes. On our YouTube channel, we actually have a dresser that we did with the stamped and press, and we troweled over it. And that is, we used the floral toile.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So we used that. So you guys can see that on our YouTube channel. Okay, so we are now ready. You would let that dry completely. Like I let it dry overnight on this piece here. And let's get the camera off. Do you want to show? You're so good at the camera angles. Do you want to show this so they can get an idea of what it looks like when it's dry?
And yeah, that's a great idea.
You might be able to leave it on the, Okay. So you can see here, this is where the paint was really thick in the middle, probably a little thicker than I wanted it to be. And you get a lot of dimpling and not as much definition. But I'm okay with that because the finished look is just, again, going to be a little bit of a broken design. And then here's when it was where it was really thin, and you can see the coat beneath it, which was actually a green color. And so you get a very different, there's a variance in the impression that really works with this texture. And we're just going to trowel over it with some stinky gold paint.
Stinky gold paint, remember, masks and ventilation.
Yes.
Now,
Let me go grab a plate.
you guys, I love this. It feels like I'm operating like a boom, a camera boom, and getting that split screen. I'm kind of nerding out about it. But do you love it? Do you love that whole... So good.
And we've said this before when we use the stinky gold paint, but there's a lot of different brands, and we haven't used one we don't like. So they're very similar in the way that they kind of...
Many times they refer to it as liquid leaf.
Yeah.
Now, question, should I lay this up? I feel like we're going to struggle a little bit doing it vertically.
Okay, let's try. I don't know if it's going to be too high. But let's try it.
What if we lay it?
Let's lay it on
this?
here. Yeah, that way we can.
You want to get that side?
Yeah.
Okay. And
if you're able to lay your piece when you're troweling so that it's down, that is great. You don't have to. We have worked vertical as well.
Oh, that totally works. I think.
Oh, excellent.
Don't you? Let me see. What am I?
I'll just get that angle there, and I'll...
Yeah, let me make sure I'm getting a good... Yeah, I feel like that's a good angle.
You'll want to give the stinky gold paint a little shake, because just a little. You don't want a lot of bubbles in there, but you do want the pigment to mix, and it does tend to separate. The pigment tends to separate. Okay, how are we doing? Let me see. Okay, we're good. This is
What
good.
do you guys think?
So I get all the way to about
this,
here, and then we can...
We'll
We'll start here, and then as we shift to this side, we can move it a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so you can see I just poured a little bit of the stinky gold paint, and I'm actually, yes.
Do you want to put this on the full screen? Because,
oh, sure. Yeah, let me do that. So you just click this. Okay, we'll do this and this. There we go.
Okay, I'll lift
It's
that camera
still...
up better.
Yeah.
So that the view is better.
Okay.
But that will give us a way better.
The fan on.
Yeah, Mama
That's a good
hot.
idea. I was thinking because of the stinky gold.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
Too.
because the fumes too.
Oh, that's perfect. You can
Yeah.
see a good.
Yeah.
You can see that really well. Now, for this, unlike the thick paint, I went on fairly thin with this paint. I got just, let me make sure they can see. I got just a wee bit of it.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Just, can you see that? Just
Yeah.
about that much. Okay, and then I did that, and I worked again in the same motions. I went vertical and horizontal. I did not go diagonal. I did not go swirly, so that you keep that nice industrial pattern going with your paint.
Oh my word.
That's pretty, huh?
It's pretty.
Did you seal the paint before you applied the gold?
Did we seal the paint before we applied the gold? No. We're just going right on.
What do y'all think? I know what you think. I know what you think.
And you can see these vertical trowel marks. That works.
Totally.
With this.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of true gold leaf because they are in squares.
They are.
And so you get that same feel.
That is so true. So I'm going to start from this inside corner.
Oops.
I did pay attention to making sure my beginning, when I come on with a fresh trowel, I'm making sure those areas are spaced nicely so that you get a nice even spacing of that.
Do be aware, remember, of just a reminder, especially if you came on part way, that you want to have good ventilation. This
I've got
has
there's some
hair.
Yeah. There's like some things
good
floating.
ventilation when you're using this type of paint and others that have fumes.
This is so.
You can also do this with an acrylic, like a water-based acrylic look. It will not look the same. But for anyone who like does not ever want to use a
stinky paint,
what's the word I'm looking for? Solvent-based paint.
Okay, what do you guys think? I think that's a nice even.
Yeah.
Now I did get it on areas that I don't want it on, but that's okay. I can just go back and touch up.
Yes. That's gorgeous. Should we lift it and then
lift it? What do you mean?
Lift it upright to see the front?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Is that beautiful?
I'm loving it.
Are you going to seal over the gold?
I did, yes. So on this side, you can see this finished side. I did a clear wax and then I did a black wax, but I was very minimal with the black wax. Black wax can go too far really fast. So I was
that escalated quickly.
Exactly. So I was thorough with the clear wax, did a nice even coat with the clear wax, and then I did a light speckling and blending of a black wax.
I want to take
to be
this
honest with
and
you,
do
if
this
I
in
were
black.
to do it over, I might just do the clear wax, because I have to say that when I did the black wax, it kind of dulled the gold a little bit.
Yeah, so
But
it depends on your look, because look
yeah,
at it. It looks,
does give it some
it
character.
adds a little bit of richness
Yeah.
in a different, not the same shine, but
almost like an antique gold.
Yeah, exactly.
It turns it to an antique
and
gold
I really
instead
like
of a
that.
true gold. So it depends on what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And again, that's one of those things you just want to play with.
I want to do this at home on a piece on a black. I want to do it on black.
Yes, it would be pretty. Now, I did use a very heavy black wax on the blue because it was too grayish blue to me, and I wanted it deeper and more complex. So on the top here, you can see what I did with that. I did a nice, so it really shifted the color and made it a little bit more sophisticated, which I really like. So yeah, do we want to show them anything else, or is that pretty much
that is the technique? Let's lift it upright so they can see the front.
Let's do it.
It's so pretty. I want to see the front of it.
You're right.
And switch the camera view.
There we go.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Oh yeah. So you can really see kind of the difference. And it's just a little bit more antiqued on this side and a little bit brighter on this side.
Oh my gosh,
but the texture of the alphabet in there, just giving it that industrial edge. I love this piece.
Look at the camera view. When you aren't as close up to it, it almost, you know what's funny is it has, because of the way the lines are, it reminds me of the landscape scenes in an Asian toile.
Oh yeah.
Like the boats and the structures. When you don't see it up close, it has that same feel to it.
Yeah, it does. I know exactly what you're talking about. It gives that feel and that pattern to it.
Yes, I love that. I love it.
I love it.
What do you guys
too.
think? What do you think of the technique? How would you use it?
I don't want to get in the way of it.
I know. Huh?
Oops, I bumped the camera. Here,
What would you
push it back so they can see it
what
better?
do you guys?
Yeah.
How would you guys use this technique?
Or maybe we put it in the middle.
There we go.
It's center stage.
That's right.
Yeah, name some ways that you guys would use this technique, because you could do a beautiful art piece with this, an abstract art piece with this technique. Oh, also, we should have mentioned, you get different looks depending on the paint colors that you use, the contrast. You could do a really high contrast look to really get some kind of harsh and dramatic edges, or you can do a really subtle contrast for a more soft and blended look.
Yes. Oh,
Okay, so glad you guys love it. Now, we want you to try it. We don't just want you to say, oh, that's really pretty.
Who's
but
going to try it?
You
We're
see how
challenging
easy it
you.
is? We are challenging you. We want you guys to go home and try this technique yourself because it really is as easy as it looks, okay? So don't leave it here online on the camera. Go home, get a board out, get some paint, get a trowel, and try it yourself. You really don't need that much to give this a try.
And
you
then
do
share
need
with
IOD
us in the
stamps,
tribe.
which you can get at your stockist, your local or online stockist, and you can find them on our online locator on our website, store locator, ironorchiddesigns.com. Click the store locator. I'm out of breath, sorry. Click the store locator and you'll find someone near you, or click online stores to find a store online.
Yes.
Okay,
you guys.
This was a short but sweet one. This went much quicker than I thought it would.
Anticipating. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining us and hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And you have a blessed rest of your day.
That's right. Let me come over here so I can close the camera down. Bye, you guys. Bye.